Welcome to Dustin's Vinyl. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Dustin Chafin.
Yeah. Anthony Kapfer on the axe. Give it up, Anthony. That was great. That was. I think you get better every week. I feel like you practice.
I have been practicing. That's a hard riff, playing the guitar and the drums at the same time and then trying to say names. That's tough.
Yeah, that is a lot. And yeah, I mean, some people do it with an harmonica. I mean, that's got to be tough too.
To talk with the harmonica, yeah. It's a skill.
Can you play harmonica? You can, right? I think anybody can play harmonica. If you can breathe, you could play harmonica.
I could fake it, but I never know which key I need.
Yeah, who cares? I think it's the easiest instrument on the planet to play. Like, because nobody knows that you're bad. If you're just, because you can basically, like with a harmonica, you can hum a song, maybe like, you could just do that, technically just do that, but breathe heavy as you're doing it into a harmonica, and it makes that song happen.
Yeah. You just move your hand a little like that.
And
you're playing, incredible.
Yeah, he's playing tequila on the harmonica. No, I'm humming it. I'm just humming a song. So yeah,
I'm really good at the kazoo. The kazoo, I kill it.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's another one. Nobody knows that you're bad or good at that. I told you, you know the kazoo story, right? With my brother. With
oh yeah.
Yeah. He had like 4 DUIs, and so this was back in the day when breathalyzer technology on vehicles wasn't that great. It was just basically a tube into like a VCR or whatever, and so he got drunk, and then got a plastic kazoo and was like, wah, wah, and it started, man. Wow. And it was amazing. We were like, it's like we were watching the Wright brothers for the first time. We were like, and he just drove off, swerving, hit like mailboxes on his way into the sunset. It was amazing. So a big fan of kazoo, everybody. So if you get a DUI, make sure you go out and get a couple of kazoos in case. I'm sure that technology is different now.
Oh, probably. Now
I'm sure it's like
you got to do it to
thumbprint.
Yeah, or through a trumpet, I think now.
Oh, is it a trumpet? Or French horn, I heard. Guy.
Oh boy, sorry.
I like it. You're really feeling that. You're feeling the badness of my joke. I love it. French horn. You don't get to say French horn enough.
You never do.
Yeah. It's a Canadian instrument. Did you know that?
No.
I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm making shit up. All right, let's bring in this other riffraff. We call this show "Who Can Look the Most Ridiculous?" Like we all try. Is it me? Is it Anthony? I don't know. But we love this guy. He's a mountain of knowledge and music. We love him. He's a funny guy. Give it up for Jeffrey Paul, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Good to be here live.
You gotta let somebody play your intro.
All right, now you can talk.
Now you can talk. Anthony, have respect the musician, okay?
I'm excited because it's good to finally be here with you guys as opposed to sending in videos.
I love the videos too, though.
Yeah, you're better when you can't talk back to us.
So basically, when you have control over when you can stop me, that's what you like. Okay,
we love it. We love it. Yeah, because you can't combat anything. We just go, all right, let's just go after Jeff. It's great. No, your videos are funny, and we love having you. This is our show. This is a family show. We we do this together. I don't know why we do it. We're not really making any traction, but
we get to hang out and talk about music.
It's kind of like our sewing club. You know what I mean? We're sewing circle, they call it. Yeah.
We like to run in neutral.
We're neutral. I mean, you have another. We all have other shows that are in neutral too. So it's not like this one's any different.
Oh yeah, neutral across the board. What I
neutral in the shows, neutral in our careers. Exactly.
Careers not so much, but I think we're all crushing it.
I'm going in reverse, career-wise.
Podcast shows. Yes, I think we should go to a podcast conference. I think.
Do they have those?
Find out. They do. You can go and see what you're doing wrong.
I would like to go to that.
It's just basically Luis Gomez going, "You gotta just go crazy, and people will listen." You gotta get in fights with other podcasters.
That's
Other
what we gotta do.
podcasters just shit on other people, and people will listen. I'm making tons of money. I'm buying a lot of weed. That's the best impression I've ever done in my life. So yeah, podcast careers, whatever. It's all good. As long as you do what you love, right? That's what they say. Yeah, so we got a fun show today. I'm doing my random pool. Anthony, we all have random pools today. We're all gonna pull it out today. My album is a really cool album. This is the Temptations' Puzzle People. This is a really cool album. We all know the Temptations, and this is probably, you don't know the Temptations like this. This came out in the 60s, and they were basically, all the Motown artists were just doing the Motown stuff, basically just doing all the shit that got them there. And so it was very kind of, on brand with all that stuff. And so the Temptations decided to do this album. And I think the album before this was a little bit of psychedelic as well. So it's the 60s. And so everybody was experimenting. The Beatles were huge. Everything was happening. It's, a lot of drugs were going around. And so they did this album. And this album has some really good songs on it. It's got some really cool covers. That's kind of why I pulled it, because we're doing a cover album today. It's got "It's Your Thing" by the Isley Brothers, which is great. Little Green Apples by Roger Miller, and "Hey Jude" by the Beatles.
Wow!
And so it's a really cool album, very eclectic, and I love that word. And it's got some good songs. It got some originals on it. "Slave," "Since I've Lost You." So it's just kind of a morph between some covers and some original stuff. But it's not what you think of when you think of Temptations. They got a lot of like centaurs and shit. Like, it's a lot of weird stuff going on. Nice. So yeah, so if you get a chance, this is a rare album. If you see it, pick it up. Worth a little bit of money. And Temptations vinyl, nice. Cool. Check it out. Nice. Anthony, would you bring us some show and tell?
I brought. So mine is not as much. This is just the last record I bought, so it's not like on theme. But
it is. It's called a random buy.
It's random buy.
That's another part of the segment.
I went back to my favorite record store in Echo Park, and I got Charlie Parker's first recordings.
Oh wow! Very cool. Who's with him?
Dizzy Gillespie, Cootie Williams.
Cootie?
Do you know him? I
Yeah,
know Dizzy Gillespie. I don't know any of these other names.
Yeah, he had a band called Cootie and the Blowfish.
Yes.
Hell yeah! All right, I like that.
It's the sunglasses. It's helping him.
There's a bunch of other guys. This is from 1940 to 1945 recordings. Onyx recordings. I don't know much about, but this is like the first recordings that Charlie Parker did.
What label is it on?
Onyx Recordings Incorporated, which was located in New York.
Wow.
Did you get that in the dollar bin?
This was $4.
Oh, that's not bad.
But I wanted to try it out. I don't have a ton of jazz records. I got Miles Davis and John Coltrane. But
I'm convinced original recordings of jazz sound best on vinyl turntable. I think it's meant for that.
Yeah. So it looks like this is like from the 70s. I mean, it's recordings from 1940, but nice. This looks like it came out.
So I wonder if it's a reissue.
It's not a reissue.
I think this might have been the first time. Yeah, I think this might have been the first time these recordings from the 40s were released.
Yeah,
in the 70s.
I don't think they were popping out albums like that in the 40s.
No, I'm talking about the recording themselves. Like, sometimes they'll have some stuff, that they just want to like throw out there that they can recoup and make a little bit of extra money on.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Kind of like they do every Jimi Hendrix album that comes out.
Oh yeah,
right. Because
it's
exactly
4 songs.
Yeah, because they're contracted. They own the rights to the music. They want to put out as much material as possible. That's why some bands you see have as many greatest hits albums as they have regular recordings.
Well, there's like a whole. I didn't read all this, but this is the whole history on the back. I don't
You're
know.
supposed to read that before you do the show.
It's
you know
long.
You have to read.
Looks like his original contract.
No, the contracts weren't very long back then. They were just sign here and we'll screw you out of money. That's
yeah,
all it
you
was.
own nothing.
Yeah. Very cool. And Jeff, what did you bring us to show and tell?
What
do you got?
I got a band that I've been listening to a lot lately. I really always love this band. Then I forget about bands for basically years, and then they reappear. And for me, it's Counting Crows. And
Wow.
it's
On CD.
but it's a live Counting Crows album, and it has all like their hits. It has Mr. Jones on it, and it has Rain King, which I think was great. And I think probably, I don't know, maybe it's such an underrated song, but I love Round Here. I think it's such a great emotional song. Anna Begins, but the song that's on this is a double CD. They do a cover of Have I Told You Lately, and I think that when Adam Duritz first came out, I always thought there were a lot of comparisons between him and Van Morrison. So I think him doing a Van Morrison classic on this album, kind of he's like buying into it, and I think that his voice is like in the same vein as Van Morrison, which, listen, there's worse things to be compared to.
Yeah, no, actually, the last time we spoke, I was going to the Counting Crows concert here in Orange County, California, and I was kind of at a state fair, and I was a little, reluctant to go, but it was kind of like there's an industry person that wanted to take me, so I was kind of going for that pretty much. I don't, Counting Crows is not something I'm going to turn up, I'll tell you that. But as far as the band itself, they were good live. They were, very talented. It was kind of about a 6-piece band, and they just, they were good. It was funny. The singer, what's his name?
Adam Duritz.
Adam Duritz. I mean, he really feels his music. Like he's really like he's like kind of like a Joe Cocker type. Like he's really kind of like it's moving through him and stuff. But it was really funny because he changes the lyrics in the songs. Like he just out of nowhere, he'll just like, I'm just gonna do it like this, and so the audience will be singing along, and then they'll just get totally lost. Like, where's he going? So a lot of the Counting Crows people were like, why did he change the lyrics? Because they were trying to sing along, and he was just like impromptu and just did a whole nother, this riff and chord. It was hilarious. It was just watching, and I think at one point it was like, Mr. Robertson. We're like, what? What happened?
Well,
Mr. Rogers, what?
The irony of that song, Mr. Jones, right? Is that the song was inspired. He was in California with his bandmate, and they were at a bar, the New Amsterdam, and it's part of the lyric of the song. And he's sitting there watching Chris Isaac's drummer, with all these girls around him, and he's like wishing he could be them. And him and his friend, who is also a musician, they're too shy to go over and say anything to these girls, so they're just hanging out drinking beers. And so that inspired the lyrics to the song Mr. Jones. It's about wanting to be a big rock star and becoming famous, and we have all have our own different reasons to become famous. The song winds up taking off, and it becomes like the big hit, right? And because it became so big, he had a hard time dealing with fame. He leaves the band for a little while and winds up taking a job as a bartender at the Whiskey Go-Go.
Oh, wow.
Just to kind of remove himself, and then they record the sophomore album. So the irony here is the song is about wanting to become famous. He does become famous, and it's not all that he thought it would be cracked up to be.
Yeah, but not being famous and being broke, way worse every time.
Way worse.
There are worse things.
I hate when rock stars do that. That sounds so pretentious. It's like, okay, really? Did he really bartend for that, or did he bartend so now it's a story? You know what I mean?
No.
Because I think he brought it up. I think in the middle of the song, he's like, "And I was a bartender." I think at the Whiskey Go-Go, and we're like, "What?" I think he said that actually. He was as he was changing the lyrics.
Yeah, that's like Andy Kaufman working as a waiter or a busboy or whatever he was.
And that's not what that was. That's totally different. when Andy Kaufman did it, that was that's a whole nother thing. That's just like in character off the stage, and it's a whole art piece. But yeah, whatever. That's cool. No, I like the band. I don't like the band, but I enjoyed the concert for what it was. I mean, it was like I felt really young when I was there. I was really old people, but
I do like that song. I like Mr. Jones. I think that's a great song.
That's all right.
Well, listen to Rain King. Rain Kings was the song that they wanted to be the single, but they just didn't feel there was enough of a hook.
There's a B-side from that as like Einstein for Eggman or something. You know that song?
No, I thought
when did they come? When did they come out? The
90s,
like 94.
Yeah, let's say 93.
Pretty easy to be a band in the 90s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like everybody, the music industry was just like on fire. Like they were just looking for bands. Like
That's right.
If you could just play a little bit, if you just a guitar and a full band, like everybody was, and you had a look, forget it, you were in.
I think there were two eras where it would have easier to get signed. One was, if you were a hair metal band in the mid 80s, everyone got signed. And then right after Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden all broke, they were just looking to find bands that, that would anything different than hair metal. And, Counting Crows kind of fit that bill.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's unbelievable. It's like, and it's kind of like comedy in the late 80s, it's like if you were just doing stand-up, and you pretty much got seen.
You want a TV show?
Yeah, there's some comics that are so bad and they're so famous, and it's like, who's a good? Them guys get hitting themselves with boxing gloves and shit.
I did the Tim Allen doing the Tim Allen.
He wasn't a bad comic. I would say more like, I'm talking like.
Are you doing Bob Nelson?
Bob Nelson. I mean, God bless him. I mean, I wish I had his money. I'm sure he's got way more money than me, but he's just a terrible comedian. But it didn't matter because it was the 80s, and everybody was like, he's hitting himself with punching with the boxing gloves. That's so funny, like Howie Mandel, he put the glove on his head. You know what I mean?
Don't get me started on Howie Mandel. Don't get me started.
Like, you can do anything.
I think next month we're doing Howie Mandel month, right? We're doing a tribute to all Howie Mandel's albums.
Yeah, he's not. That's the thing. It was easy. There was only like 20 comics back then, so it was like, everybody got to get famous. It was really weird. But anyway, that's just my rant on, timing is everything, kids. If you're gonna start something, pick the right time to do it. This is a terrible time to start comedy. And music, it's pretty bad if you're not like a rapper or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Great time to quit, though.
It is. It is a good time to quit. Let's all quit right now. We should just all quit because nobody's gonna miss us. All right, so we were in a plane crash. We would make no dent in the comedy world. All right, so. So we're like, what? What happened? Oh, okay. It's a positive show today, guys. Have some coffee. Trying to stay buzzed. All right. So we got. Let's start with Jeff. We got the random pulls were fun, and today our theme is cover albums. Like we're either compilations or the band covers all songs on the album. It's all cover songs and stuff. So. Jeff, what do you got for us today?
Okay, so I got a band that I absolutely love. I mean, when it comes to musicianship, I really think they're second to none. And the band is Dream Theater. And they're known for covers. They've done a series of covers. They've covered full Iron Maiden albums, they've covered full Metallica albums, and they have a series of albums called Uncovered dating back to 95. So I chose, however, Uncovered 2003 to 2005, and these were performances that were compiled over about a 2-year period, and they cover like a good assortment of bands. They cover Queen and Sabbath and Yes and Journey and Pantera, and I think what really makes this album stand out, besides the unbelievable musicianship, is the choice of songs that they chose. I really think it's excellent. Like for Queen, they didn't pick, what would be the hit. I mean, probably a song that if you're not like a real Queen fan, you probably don't know, would be a song like Death on Two Legs. They pick out maybe one of the hardest Yes songs to play is Heart of the Sunrise, which in my opinion is easily the standout on this album. They do Heaven and Hell by Sabbath. They do Mother Father from Journey, which I'm like, holy shit, what a great deep track to pick. It's emotional, it's great. It's really like, I was so glad that, you know, of all the songs, that's what they did. And then the album ends with Dream Theater and Queensryche doing We Won't Get Fooled Again. But the first 5 songs on the album were filmed or were recorded during sound checks. I guess one, if I'm gonna have to pick and nitpick and say there's a downside to the album, I think the songs sound too close to the originals. Like there wasn't really a change. Like I know in yours and Anthony's, the especially Anthony's, the arrangements are completely different than the original. And I gotta say, since we've been doing the show and doing themes, I thought this was the most fun I had listening to albums and doing it, because I thought all the albums were great. But musicianly, I mean, this is just an insane album. Starting with, they say, the first track, Death on Two Legs. Musically, it's great. I thought the challenge here was vocally. I think James Labrie, who's a great singer, doesn't quite have the range of a Freddie Mercury, but then again, who does? Okay. Then, like I said, Heart of the Sunrise, best track here on the album, very true to the original. The 2 members that really stand out here, John Mylung, who is the bass player. Chris Squire was an all-time, I mean, if you're putting together a Mount Rushmore of bass players, you would put Chris Squire on that list. And I think John does a phenomenal job. In fact, they covered 2 Yes songs on this album, and they do it from 2 different eras. And then I also thought the other standout on here is Mike Portnoy, who's, you know, considered a great drummer. He plays in a bunch of different bands. Great drummer. Jordan Rudess on keyboards here, emulating Rick Wakeman, is really, really solid, man. It's so good. The next song, Heaven and Hell, great choice. They do it really hard. If you listen to past uncovered albums by them, they do Elton John, Funeral for a Friend, Love Lies Bleeding. Okay, note for note, it's perfect. Same thing here with Heaven and Hell. The only thing is, how do you cover Dio's vocal? I mean, Dio is, again, Mount Rushmore singers. I'm putting him on there because, I mean, this guy started off as a doo-wop singer and then becomes, I think, a powerful, one of the all-time great singers. And then, speaking of great singers, we talked about Mother, Father, but there's a lot of emotion in the song. And here's, again, talk about irony. When James Labrie auditioned to be in Dream Theater, he auditioned doing a Journey song, but he did separate ways. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this. I thought this was, again, a really fun, easy album to listen to. It went by very quick for me.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's interesting. It's that kind of powerful kind of theater rock, you know, I would call it, you know, just kind of just a lot of things going on. It feels kind of meatloafy in some ways, just because it just has, you know, all this kind of, you know, theatrics to it and stuff. I thought it was good. I don't know what I listened to. I tried to find it on YouTube. I think I got the right one. I'm not sure which song. But yeah, it was good. You know, it's funny, man. I'm kind of going through this thing where I don't know if I'm into dudes that sing high anymore. It's like, I think I've lost that thing. Like, I never liked certain bands, and like Iron Maiden, I never locked into. Like, you know, Dio, I went through a phase, but I don't know. There's just something about it, and it's funny because it's not something that happens so much now. You know, it's not like
really.
it's not the formula anymore. And so when you hear it, it feels a little dated, but it's still beautiful music, and it's, you know, great rock, and it's great, you know, arena stuff that, you know, I'm sure if you could fill any place, it would be amazing. But I don't know, man. It's just funny. I have to kind of like step back a little bit to get back into that stuff. But yeah, I thought it was good. Anthony, what did you think?
I got nervous because I didn't realize there were multiple uncovered albums. So when
Yeah,
Jeff was
I
talking
don't know
about it, I was like,
what.
I think I listened to the wrong one, but I listened to
Yeah,
I listened to the right
me
one
too.
because it started with Death on Two Legs. Um, Dream Theater is a band that I never really tried to dive into. I've always just heard, you know, I've just heard people rave about them, and I haven't really listened to much of their stuff. So um, this was an interesting way to check them out, to hear them covering a bunch of bands. But I also didn't know a lot of the songs they were covering. Like I'm not really into
Yeah.
Yes, and Journey. I'm not into so, but I knew the Queen song. I think they did a good job musically. Vocally is like, you're not gonna top Freddie Mercury. So it's interesting to hear a band that's regarded, like they're all virtuosos and stuff, and then they kind of fall a little short on these
It
covers.
depended
Like,
on the song, I thought.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't listen to the Yes song, like the original. So for all I know, it wasn't as
Yeah.
good, but I'm sure it was fine. It
Yeah.
sounded like they were doing it justice. The Dio one was fine. The Who was fine. It's not my favorite Who song.
No, but and
So
also on that song, Jeff Tate, Queensryche sings on it with them.
yeah, I didn't
Mm.
realize that until
Yeah.
Yeah.
you said it before. But it
And that was
sounded fun.
that was recorded during a live performance as opposed to
The sound
the
checks.
Queen song, which was done during sound check.
Yeah. So
So
I thought it was fun. I thought it was a fun album. I probably wouldn't. I don't think it made me want to listen to Dream Theater more, but
Mm.
I had fun listening to this.
so if you see these guys live, are they playing like 12 covers? Is that probably
No,
what's
no,
happening?
they'll play covers. But it depends on what kind of show they're going to be doing. They can go out and just do a whole concert of covers. They can
Mm.
do a whole
Yeah.
like kind of like Official do.
Oh yeah.
Official sometimes just go out. They'll do some of their own stuff, and then they'll just do the white album.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but
Primus
this
is
is
doing that kind of stuff too.
right. But
Yeah.
this is just like the heavy metal version of it. But you
Yeah.
used a good word, Anthony. They're all virtuosos.
Yeah.
They're all at the top of the game. When it comes to musicianship, I don't think you're going to find a better band than this.
No. No, they're all like they could be. I mean, maybe they are like all session guys. I mean, they're
They
all
play on
just
other
the best
people's
of the
albums.
best.
Absolutely, they do.
Yeah.
Like I said, Mike Pointer has got it right now, being about 5-6 different bands.
Yeah.
He's in Sons of Apollo,
Yeah.
Winery Dogs. Yeah, he's in a bunch of different groups.
But
Yeah.
that stuff has never been my favorite. Like I don't listen to music for that musicianship like that because I got into punk rock and stuff. So like I can appreciate it, but I'm also like I can be bored by that at the same time.
Yeah, you watch somebody like Steve Vai, and you're just like, okay, this guy's
Yeah.
great. This guy is
Yeah.
like, I've never seen anybody move their fingers that fast.
Yeah, great technique, but
Except for
musical.
Ingve with Mom Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then after a while, you're just like, okay, it's like we get it. It's a long solo. There's only so much you can do with a rock solo. There's only like it only sounds like 6 different ways. Like it's like it's always gonna be it's gonna be really high.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really and so it's like you can't really do that much with the solo. It's like after a while you're like you've heard it, Angus Young does it one way, Eddie Van Halen does it one way. So it's like, it's interesting when people are really good at something like that, but it's like, but if it doesn't have, I don't know, I think this band is missing a little bit of that thing that makes bands more popular, the sexiness or I don't know, just something.
They're not like the best looking guys in the world. I mean, they're regular looking guys. It's not about image with them. It's not what they look like. It's about how they play. So this is really geared towards music nerds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, Rush was like that, but
yes.
but they somehow figured a way to get to the masses, even though there was a lot of minute shows and stuff, but still they were huge. They were very popular. People know who Rush is. I never heard of this band. And so I feel like,
because
the
difference is, Dustin, is later on with Rush, they wound up changing their sound and writing more radio oriented rock. Dream Theater
As you
doesn't do
should.
that. Right.
As you should.
Right.
Yeah.
Dream Theater, you'd be hard pressed on looking at their originals, trying to find something that's going to fit a 4-minute FM radio block, what they're looking for. That's not what they are.
Yeah, no, and I can respect that. They do what they do, but yeah, but sometimes it's like you gotta like adapt to the crowd a little bit,
Well, listen, these guys do well for themselves because, like, we said, they do play on other people's albums, and they still are, they're still always in demand, and they do have like.
I saw them at a wedding one time. You sure they're doing good? I don't know.
Yeah, but it was a big wedding.
About 40 people. We tipped them on the way out. We felt bad.
Better than what Counting Crows are doing now. Are they playing Legoland next week? I'm not sure.
Actually, it was a county fair. Okay, buddy, calm it down.
Okay,
the place where you could get fried
not quite
butter.
as good as Legoland, but it's getting there.
Fried butter on a stick.
Who am I talking about? I'm playing before 6 people at a Burger King tonight. So
exactly. I'm
that?
hanging out. I'm hanging out with
Greg.
you two.
Who books that?
I'm hanging out with you two. Life is not working out for any of us. So let's go to the next guy. Let's go to Anthony. I really liked your album, Anthony. That was fun. It's a little short though.
It was short, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you got for us?
Yeah, I looked. It's like, is it over already?
Yeah. That's what his wife says, huh? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll be here all week.
Probably not. I'll get fired. Somebody will replace me. But whatever.
Steal the roast beef.
There you go.
The roast
Thank
beef.
You. That's a callback.
Put it in your backpack.
Dustin knows what I'm talking about.
I know. I heard the
Of course,
story too.
I've told everyone. Of course.
Oh man, ruining it for everybody. I picked Goldfinger. The album is called Darrin's Coconut Ass, live from Omaha, which it's not live in front of an audience. They recorded it live in a studio, and they did a bunch of covers. I had this on CD. When did this come out? This was 1999, I think, is when it came out. Is that right? I think it came out in 99. I had it when it came out on CD. The CD had it was one of those CD-ROM things where it has like videos and stuff. But I like this album. There's a lot of covers on here that as a kid, I heard these versions before I heard the originals. Like, let me see. Feel Like Making Love. I heard this version before I heard Bad Company. Nightclub, the Specials. I heard this version first. Stuff like that.
I'm sure the Police song.
Which one was the Police song?
There's a Police song on there.
Oh, Man in the Suitcase.
Yes.
I don't think I ever knew who that was. Yeah, I don't think to this day, I have not heard the original. I don't believe.
You're not missing much. This is better.
But I already knew the Joe Jackson song, Is She Really Going Down With Him? I had heard Just Like Heaven, but I like their renditions. I think they did a nice job with the Joe Jackson song. They kept it close enough to the original, but they did their own thing with it. I forgot that because Goldfinger also does a really good cover of 99 Red Balloons.
Oh,
and
fantastic.
I thought it was on here until I went back to re-listen, and I was like, oh, it's not, because I know it's on one of their other albums, but I thought it was on both. I went back to check it out, and I was like, that's like one of the best covers they do. So, but yeah, I had this when I was a kid. I liked it. It exposed me to some other. I didn't even know who the Specials were, and I don't think I knew who Bad Company. Maybe I'd heard the name, but I still prefer this version on here to the Bad Company version. I think it rocks way harder. So
yeah. Well, Jeff has a Bad Company jean jacket, so
I have a Bad Company shirt that I wear sometimes. I may have wore it on this show.
Okay, I was in the parking lot. Okay, yeah, I think some bands shouldn't do covers because I feel like they they take away from really, finding their sound. And then there's bands that probably this is their best lane to go down because maybe they're not as good as for original songs, but they really crush, the covers and they make it different. And who's the band that does that?
Me First and the
Smooth
Gibby
Criminal. Smooth Criminal.
Alien Ant
Oh,
Farm.
Alien Ant Farm.
Alien Ant Farm.
Great
Like this
cover.
remind me a lot of Alien Ant Farm. It reminded me very, very, very similar in the sense of, taking the song and kind of making it punk, making it fun, making it kind of this fast rock. And I enjoyed it. It was great. It was like all the songs are great. I've heard that 99 Love Balloon. I've heard that version. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
and so this band is great. It's like, and this is what I want from the covers. And it's funny because I'll talk about mine later today, but I wasn't really happy with a lot of my songs because I felt like they didn't take the liberty to kind of change the sound. And I think this is fun because, this is the best way to do covers. Like, I don't think you should do covers to hit a note. It's kind of like when, Gus Van Sant, he did Psycho frame by frame. It's like that. I don't want art like that. Yeah.
Nobody ever tried to do that again. Do a shot for shot remake.
Yeah, it's like, and it's same with music. I don't want note for note. I don't want. I want you to kind of make it different. Because all the covers that I like are covers. Like Sinead O'Connor, Nothing Compares to You. It's completely different from Prince, and whatever. So it's like you want that, and so I think this band really brings that fun kind of pop punk that you love so much to this kind of music and to the covers. And I think they did a great job, and it's really going out with him. It's one of my favorites. I thought that was great.
So
it just kind of, it added a thing. And then you forget about those songs. And that's when it's a really good cover, you go and listen to the original because you want to get more, and then it just exposes you to more and more music. So that's when you nail it. When you nail a cover, people go out and get the other stuff from the original artist. And I think that's really the beauty of the whole thing. And that's when a cover's done well, is when you can, you like it so much, you want to seek it out. And so I think that's, the original, but I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was good. It was upbeat. Every song was great. It was short, which is sometimes not a bad thing.
20 minutes or something.
Which is not a bad thing. Sometimes it's like, an average album on vinyl is only 39 minutes, so it's like, it's about right. But I enjoyed it a lot. It was good. Jeff, what do you think?
I liked it a lot too, man. I thought it was really good. I think when it comes to covers, there are two that really stand out because of their arrangements and just what it meant. And I think 99 Luft Balloons by Goldfinger and I think Hurt by Johnny Cash, I think are two of the best covers that are out there. But with this album, I mean, just like Heaven, very, very punky version of the song. I mean, I do like the original better, but I mean, this was really fun. Is She Really Going Out With Him? Definitely a standout to me, man. Also, love the original, but I really like this take on it. A lot of power, a lot of emotion. I think the standout overall song was Bad Company's Feel Like Making Love. A lot of pure power in those choruses, which I think Goldfinger is known for. If people don't know who Goldfinger is, their big original hit was Here in My Bedroom, which was also a really good, fun 90s song. But
that
then
album's great too. Her first album.
Yeah, but then they kind of changed this sound. Like those were the first three songs, was just like Heaven, Is She Really Going Out With Them, the Bad Company song, Feel Like Making Love. And then I thought the album shifted a little bit to more of a ska sound in the Kids All, the Who's Kids Are All Right, and the Police, Man in the Suitcase. But very easy danceable beats, more use of a horn. I kept thinking Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, Real Big Fish. Overall, this album does have a heavily special sound to it, which I think preceded them by maybe about 10, 12 years. But overall, I mean, I really liked this album. It was a lot of fun. I thought, also 20 minutes, I thought it was a little short because I did want to hear more.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, Man in the Suitcase. I think if a band covers a Police song, it always sounds better because I hate the Police. So, so good for them. That's the only Police song I'll actually listen to. So this is it was a fun band, fun album. Is it technically an album if it's 20? I guess
I
it
think,
is.
aren't those EPs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
EP's 3 songs, right? You know, Anthony. You
No,
have
No,
EPs.
EP,
I
it
think
has to do with the time.
I
It's
think
an
the
extended play.
definition has changed now with streaming. So if it's less, if, on streaming services, 7 tracks is technically a full length album.
LP,
Uh,
right?
yeah. So if it has
Long
less
play.
than 7 tracks, it would be considered an EP unless one of the tracks is 10 minutes or longer. So like a jazz album could just
Yeah.
have like one side is one track and
Yeah.
one side the other side is
You
that
know,
would be considered an album.
Yes would have albums,
Mhm.
with like, 4 or 5 songs on it. And a
Yeah.
song could be 15, 16 minutes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's it's by track number of tracks and or length of tracks depending. So that's how they. But I think it was different before with like records, when stuff was on records. I think
Yeah.
the definition of what's an album keeps changing because of the format.
I
think-
always hate it when I buy like a double platinum album, and then I go to put on the 4th side, and then it's just like the mock side. Like they only did 3. There's only like 3 sides to the album, and so like the 4th side is just fucking nothing, and it's
there's
like a blank
there.
album. Yeah, have you ever done
But
that?
they had that.
No, I have like a lot of albums like that where it's like it's a platinum or a double or whatever, and then you go to listen to the 4th side, and they didn't have enough music, but they only had enough for 3 sides.
I've
And
never
so
seen that.
that's not, dude. And then you put it on, and it's like it's just like scratching and shit. You're like, because there's nothing recorded on it.
I don't know if I
Really?
owned
That's
anything
never
like
happened.
that.
I have like 6 albums like that.
Yeah.
They should let you record your own thing on there.
Yeah, they should put some
Yeah.
hidden tracks, or they could have done some covers or something, or some outtakes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with it. I just, it's just funny when I don't know what's happening, and I'm just like, it's like whatever. It's funny. All right, so today my album is it's an album that I'd always heard about. I actually don't own it. It's kind of hard to find. It's not available on vinyl at all. I think there's like 4 CDs left in the world. It's album called Stoned Immaculate. It's a tribute album to the Doors. And I know Jeff's not a huge Doors fan. I am a huge Doors fan. I feel some of my most memorable moments as a youth and finding music and what sex was and what drugs were and what rock and roll can be and what a front man fucking is supposed to be is the motherfucking Doors. There's nothing sexier than fucking Jim Morrison and leather pants and chicks going crazy and just this weird organ happening. Like who's playing this dude playing this weird organ, and then there's like sound effects happening and like there's lightning and thunder and wolves. I just love it, man. And it's like if and if you've never gotten high and listened to the Doors, you've really never gotten completely high, because there's 2 bands, maybe there's 4, but the 2 bands, Pink Floyd and the Doors, and this other jam bam shit doesn't compare to these types of bands where they really kind of take you into this narrative of just this creepiness. And so I love the Doors. I feel like grunge music is basically Neil Young and the Doors. And so it's very appropriate that this album, it has a lot of kind of the, it came out in 2000, which I thought it was earlier. I thought this album came out like in the 90s, but apparently they released it in 2000. It's and some of the surviving members of the Doors actually play on this. And my hero, Ian Astbury from the Cult, is very involved in this album. And so at one point he was the front man.
Yeah.
He was the front man of the surviving Doors, and they did a whole tour and everything. I don't think it went very well because people just weren't ready for somebody to do that. Now it's like a thing, you got Adam Levine for Queen. I think it was
Adam
just ahead of
Lambert.
its time. Lambert, that's it. Jesus, who am I thinking?
You took Maroon
who's
5
Levine?
guy.
Oh yeah. I would get them
that would be a
confused.
disaster. That'd be a disaster. Yeah,
I saw the guy from the Cult on like on one of those, I don't know, Letterman or Conan or one of those late night shows. I saw them play with him.
Yeah. So it was like, but yeah, now it's like people are into it, but back then it was something that was very like, because I think people were like you're bastardizing the music, this is not the real guy. And so people weren't doing that yet. Now it's Journey, got a kid that fucking slept in his car and did karaoke. Next thing you know, he's the fucking lead singer of Journey. Now it's like, but they didn't do that back then. So anyway, him taking a risk like that was interesting.
Yeah.
Replacing such an icon. I mean, bands have replaced singers, but I think this was a thing where he was basically being Jim Morrison. So it was like a whole weird thing. I remember it kind of hurt the cult, to be honest with you, because it was like this thing that happened that people just weren't really into, and so it just kind of like people turned off in the cult. Anyway, so producer of this album was Rob Saul, who also produced the Ramones, Stone Temple Pilots, Smash Mouth, some of the guys that are on this band. And I like this album. I think it's interesting. Some of the songs not so much, but opening track Break On Through with Stone Temple Pilots, I thought it had a kind of a haunting originality to it. I thought it was fun. There was a little bit of some jam stuff happening with the Temples, because it's nice to, that's such a great band, and just like to hear something that you normally don't hear from them, because this is like, that's what's cool about this album, is it's like some of our bands that we like, you've never heard them do this. And so this is like a kind of a hidden gem to hear like Stone Temple Pilots do Break On Through, which I think is one of the great Doors songs. And then it gets weird, for some reason you put Creed on the album, and you got, Riders on the Storm, I mean, it sounded okay, it's like, for Creed, it sounded pretty good. The worst song on the whole fucking album was Train doing Light My Fire. I was like, oh my God, like who greenlit this thing?
Oh,
and so, but it was fun. It sounded like karaoke though. It really did. It just sounded like Train was just like, they're like, hey, I want to be a part of this. People are going to take us serious after this. It was like, no, dude, you got one song, just own it. And then Smash Mouth, Peace Frog. I thought that was good. Kind of funky and fun. That was a pretty good version of it. Do you like them, Anthony? I feel like you're a Smash Mouth guy. No, or is that
no? I mean,
Offspring. That's what I'm thinking.
Offspring, yeah. I mean, All Star is a fun song.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny All Star, but
yeah,
nah.
Yeah, it's kind of a '90s kind of thing.
Yeah.
Days of the New. Days of the New. What is it? Yeah,
I
that
remember
was
Days of the New.
They did the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it was a good rendition.
They do
I
like
thought
two
it was,
songs, don't they?
Yeah, do two songs.
Yeah.
Track 5, I believe, was let's see, what did they do? We did LA Woman, which is one of my favorite Doors songs. And yeah, they did that. It was good. It was a good song. They did a good job. I mean, I think, I hadn't really heard of them. They were kind of, I felt like they were like Silverchair or something. They kind of slid in and slid out.
Yeah, a little bit. They were kind of like, to me, I thought they were like the precursors to a band like Creed. Similar kind of voice, but their thing was that they played that same kind of music, but it was all acoustic guitars.
Oh, okay.
So like they were kind of trying to rock hard with acoustic guitars, and then that guy had like the kind of Pearl Jam Creed voice.
Yeah,
that was.
And then track 6, and then it was Aerosmith doing "Love Me Two Times." I think they kind of nail the vibe. They're such a talented band that I think they can keep up with the sound of the Doors. So it was good. And then there's just some weird shit on this album. There's always like there's like the Doors, they're doing some rare track on there, and then number 7. And then the Cult does Wild Child, which I love. I love the Cult. And I feel like Ian Astbury and the band itself, they really, they embody kind of what the Doors, are about, where it's kind of this Native American feel. It's kind of like this mystic kind of soulful music, and and kind of goth and whatnot. So I feel like the Cult always does a good job with that. And then it's like Roadhouse Sessions. I think that shows with John Lee Hooker, which is amazing. Roadhouse Blues, kind of a live version in New York, which is very, very cool. And then there's another weird fucking track. And William S. Burroughs, who's the author of like Naked Lunch and stuff. So he does some beatnik shit. Like he's like talking the lyrics out, and they're doing music from behind. I think that's where the surviving members did some music behind him talking and stuff, which is cool. It was just weird and fun. And that's what you want in a Doors album, tribute or whatever, because it's got to feel like you just dropped some mushrooms, So and then what was 12? 12 was interesting. It was band Hello, I Love You, which I think is also a great song. I'm not sure about this band, Orlando.
Orlando, yeah, they're a metal band.
They were like I had their first album. Oleander was like a they were almost like
Yeah, they hit it.
Fuel.
Why I'm here.
Yeah, they were like
Okay.
they rode the coattails of bands like Fuel and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
kind of post grunge, I guess.
Yeah. I liked their album at the time.
Late
Yeah,
90s.
Yeah.
felt a little dated. And then third track is Touch Me, which is Ian Astbury, and the rest of the Doors did that together. And then this one was really cool. Track 14 was Children of the Night, I guess. It was with Exene Savanka from X and Perry Farrell from Jane's Addiction. And so I thought that was weird and kind of drug induced, and they kind of like nailed the vibe of that song. And then 15 was cool. Bo Diddley, Love Her Madly. It sounded a little corny. I mean, I love Bo Diddley, but it came off like it's like he just kind of made it a little too peppy for me. I didn't think it worked. Then the Cosmic Movie, Doors song, really cool. And then the end by that band again.
Days of the
Days of the New, and you could tell this song was the end for them as well, because I never really nobody heard of them after this.
That's
ever
true.
again. This band, that song kind of nailed the whole thing. But overall, I think it's always fun. I like this because it was like tribute albums to an artist are cool, and I think we should. I think there's more out there that we could explore as well, because I love the idea of that. So it's everybody puts, because they're all fans, and so then the bands are fans of the artist, and they do kind of their tribute, and we that kind of thing. So their spin on it. But I thought it was good. I thought it was a fun, weird. Some of the songs not so great. I thought a lot of people try to stay true to it a little bit, and then there was some experimentation, which was fun. So what do you think, Anthony?
I like, conceptually, I like this. I like that this was a compilation of covers as opposed to what the kind of albums that me and Jeff picked, where it's one band covering a bunch of stuff. I'm not a huge Doors fan, so off the bat, it's like it's a fun way to listen to the Doors for me. But then then you look, it's like Smash Mouth and Creed, so also not a collection of bands that I necessarily love. But it's still fun to hear. Creed made a lot of sense to me, like just the sound of his voice made sense to be doing Doors songs, Days of the New, all that stuff. I was like, yeah, of course. Like that time period, these are the bands you want. I had not heard the Stone Temple Pilots cover before this. I thought it was pretty cool. The Stone Temple Pilots do a cover of Dancing Days by Led Zeppelin that I prefer to this Doors cover that they do. Also, they did Revolution by the Beatles. They did a good cover of that. So I'd heard a few Stone Temple Pilots covers of classics. And I thought this was fine. He sounds. Scott Weiland could have fronted the Doors instead of the guy from the Cult, I think.
Oh, I think Ian Astbury is excellent for that. I don't think he as far as a Morrison voice, I think Ian is better suited for that.
Oh, you think he's better? I think they
absolutely
good at it, but I don't know. I hear it in Scott Weiland, even
I hear
in some of the originals.
Yeah. Definitely. There's a reason that the band wanted him to sing.
Yeah.
They picked him.
Yeah.
They reached out to him. They were like,
do you want to like, wow.
Yeah. The whole band. Yeah. They were just like, this guy's perfect for it. I mean, I think Weiland nailed the drugs. So I think that's,
Yeah, he did.
But also you got to understand too. I think that what happens too, and Jeff knows a lot about the production stuff. Where it's like, I think record companies are like, hey, all right, we're gonna do a Doors tribute. Let's reach out to some bands, and so they probably have like maybe 6 months, 8 months. Like they have to come up with something. They got to arrange it together. It's probably on a time limit. So I think a lot of times it's like it's not like the covers that you said. I mean, I'm sure it's like. That's just something that covers that they love or they're drawn to or whatever. But it's just like it's a project. And so then they're trying to like find the art for that project. So I think it's very interesting when an artist has to kind of like, it's not a natural reaction to it. They have to kind of like just, prepare for the album. So I think that's an interesting thing. Like, it's like, like if somebody says, hey, you got to write jokes for, you know, for late night or whatever. It's like it's not jokes you typically write, but you do the jokes for that. So it's very specific, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a fun collection. You know, Smash Mouth was probably the most surprising one when I looked at the track listing. I was like, really, Smash Mouth doing the Doors? All right.
It wasn't the worst. I think Bo
No.
Diddley was the worst.
Yeah, I didn't mind the Bo Diddley one. I thought it was kind of cool.
I thought it was atrocious, but I think he's talented. But I just sometimes it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how talented you are. You're just missing the vibe of the music.
Lover Madly was the one he did.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite. It's one of the only Doors songs I actually like. Is Lover Madly.
Yeah.
But no, that's his what?
Jeff, what do you got?
All right. Yeah, I'm going to be upfront too. Not a huge Doors fan, but
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, I'm not. You know, one of the, I don't know if you guys know, but you know, Bowie did a cover of Alabama Song, which is a very weird cover. But going back to this album here, the first two songs really, I think, grabbed me in. I loved Stone Temple Pilots doing Break On Through. I think Scott Weiland can sing anything. He has a Christmas song where he goes, have you ever heard that one?
I heard some of the Christmas.
Oh my God.
He's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, he could do anything, but it sounds Perry Como-ish. He can do Zeppelin. He could have sang for the Doors. Yeah, I also thought the very underrated was Dean DeLeo on this. You know, playing guitar. Man, he really shredded on it. It was a little different arrangement. I loved it, and I didn't know what to expect out of Creed. I thought Creed was great. Riders on the Storm, I thought was an excellent vocal. I think Mark Tremonti is amazing guitar player. He was amazing in Creed. He was amazing in his own band, and I thought he did this really good. So the first two songs really got me. I agree with Dustin. I don't know which I hated more: Train, Light My Fire, or
oh yeah, that's right. That was the worst.
Yeah, or Oleander's Hello, I Love You. I thought the vocal simply does not fit, and I like Oleander. To a degree, but I mean, that didn't work for me. I was a little surprised to hear you say you didn't like the Bo Diddley, because I know you like that blues, but I didn't think it fit either. I agree with you a lot on that. Smash Mouth doing Peace Frog, that was fun. I thought Aerosmith's take on Love Me Two Times I also enjoyed.
I liked that too.
Yeah, I wasn't really familiar with Under Waterfall, and that was, I guess, a Doors song.
Yeah,
but I liked it. I liked it a lot. Ian Asbury, I think he has to have some of Jim Morrison's DNA in him, because his phrasing of words and the way he sings these songs, he sounds like a reincarnation of Morrison. He's great, and that's exemplified on Wild Child. But I really think the best song on the whole album was Days of the New, Doing the End. Really trippy and excellent cover. I think Days of the New are great, and I thought they really nail it on that song.
I actually have them here today. Come on, guys.
They're opening up for Counting Crows at the county fair.
They're delivering your pizza.
You got to get gas money to get to that county fair, Anthony.
Grubhub. Wow. We should do that. Celebrity Grubhub. It was just fun. I mean, and so we'll round it out. Jeff already said his favorite two covers, was Hurt, and what was the other one?
And 99 Lift Balloons. I think that's a
99 Lift Balloons. What are two that you love, Anthony? Give us off the top of your head.
Well, Hurt is a great one. I'm trying to think. I don't know. He picked some really good ones.
All right, I'll go, since you can't do off the cuff stuff. Well, let's see. My favorite covers is Cowboy Junkies. Sweet Jane is one of my favorites. I think that's like such a Lou Reed said that's the best cover of his song that he had ever heard in his life, and so he gave his blessing.
Lou Reed.
Well, you got a problem with Lou Reed?
I hate Lou Reed. Wait, what? Who was the band that Anthony picked? Bobby Bear Jr.
Lou
Bobby
Reed
Bear
is
Jr., yeah.
amazing.
I will
Lou
go see
Reed is
Bobby Bear
phenomenal.
Jr. every time over
Velvet
Lou.
Underground?
Oh,
Come
I
on,
hate it.
dude.
The only
He
thing worse was
created
his
so
wife,
much-
Laurie Anderson. Oh, they were terrible.
They're not terrible. They're fucking great. It's like, come on. It's like it's such
Sweet
a love letter.
Jane.
Yes, everything's a love
He
letter to
doesn't
New York
sing.
City.
He talks.
So does Johnny Cash. It doesn't matter.
No,
It's
he
like,
does
yes,
not.
he does. Yes, Johnny
At the end
can't
of his
sing for
career.
shit. Johnny can't sing for shit, and don't even. It's like it's talk singing. It's the same fucking thing. Come on, man. Ring of Fire, really? Can he sing? Can he belt?
Yeah, he's
I don't
singing.
think so. He's not singing. I can sing better than Johnny Cash. He's just talking. He's
Satellite of Love.
Boy named Sue. Yeah, I'm singing like this. Yeah, that's not singing, dude. Nothing compares to you. I think is a great cover. Jolene by the White Stripes. I think it's phenomenal.
It's a good one.
It's I just just some good stuff. All right, you got 1 minute, Anthony. Did you think of one? You want to Google?
I like. It's
Still
silly.
drawing a blank.
It's silly, but there's a Devo covering "Head Like a Hole" by
There
Nine
you
Inch
go.
Nails is very funny to hear.
Very good, very good. I knew you had it in you. All right, everybody. This is our show, and thank you for listening to us. Please subscribe on YouTube, our Dustin's Vinyl, and get the word out. We would love to hear more from you. All right, everybody. Keep buying vinyl records. Support record stores. Woo! Place out, Anthony.